I'm Troy Torres.
And I'm Daniel Baza.
It is 6:11 a.m. on Friday, the 15th of July. Thank you so much for joining us. When we come back, we'll bring you the top stories from Kandit and the Guam Daily Post.
Kandit, The Point, and the Guam Daily Post are proud to present another Platform 2022 debate. Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio and Lieutenant Governor candidate Sabrina Salas Matanani. Phil Leon Guerrero and Montesilva Tyron will present topics and issues of concern to every Guamanian. July 20th at 6 p.m. everywhere. Broadcast, simulcast, and webcast on Facebook, Kandit News, and on the air at 93.3 FM and on KGTF. Platform 2022 from Kandit, the Guam Daily Post, and 93.3 The Point.
As a defense attorney, I've represented many people who, if they weren't poor or they had received a higher education, may have taken a different path. As senator, I will propose a scholarship for those whose struggles are less academic and more financial. Let's keep our university full, not our prison. I'm Thomas Fisher. I not only approve this message, I wrote it.
Paid for by Tom for Guam, Drake Diaz, Treasurer.
When our political forefathers and foremothers laid the foundation for the Commonwealth, they dreamed of greater opportunities for our people.
In 1975, when nearly 80% of the people voted for Commonwealth, they too dreamed for a better life, for themselves and their children.
Nearly 50 years after the election of hope, we have forgotten how to dream like our ancestors did.
They dreamed of taking pride in being self-governing under the stars and stripes.
They dreamed of new opportunities to make a life in these beautiful islands. Today, abandoned buildings remind us of foreign investors who rushed in to make a quick buck, who then left us with empty buildings, monuments to forgotten promises.
We feel shame for a Commonwealth administration that's being investigated for corruption.
If we are to be the islands of hope and opportunity that our forefathers dreamed of, if we are to regain our pride in being self-governing under the stars and stripes, we need to be courageous enough to dream again. In the coming weeks, we will share with you our dreams for our beautiful islands. My running mate, Layla Fleming Staffler, and I will also share with you our plans to turn those dreams into reality. Layla and I invite you to make this journey with us.
We humbly ask for your vote. Let's make our collective dreams a reality in the Sablan Staffler administration.
By doing so, we will bring back pride in our Marianas.
This message is approved and paid for by the committee to elect Christina Sablan and Layla Staffler.
bottom line is we're going to make you a better person. You're going to be healthier and fitter than you were before.
Welcome back. In Kandit's top story last night, Congressman Michael Nicholas is renewing his call for Governor Leon Guerrero to use lingering federal pandemic funds for one of its chief intended uses by Congress, to pay private sector workers so-called essential worker pay. Let's get that $300 million in federal relief out now, Mr. Nicholas said in his congressional address last week, referencing Federal American Rescue Plan Act discretionary funding within the governor's exclusive control. Let's finally get relief out to our essential workers who are the reason our public and private sector remained operating, the congressman said. The governor's office has yet to respond to Kandit's question to the governor whether she agrees with such a program and will issue essential worker pay. Mr. Nicholas, who is running for governor against Ms. Leon Guerrero's bid for re-election, said if elected governor and the federal funds remain, he will create the program and pay essential workers.
In a story in Kandit, the old saying, "the writings on the wall," must be resounding in a legal battle to resolve GovGuam's most expensive land scam. Guam Waterworks, reeling from a losing streak in a court battle it waged against Cortec International over disputed Ukadu property, now wants to change its complaint against CTI. In an 11th hour motion to amend its operative replies to CTI's counterclaims on the property, where GWA operates the Northern District Wastewater Treatment Plant, the island's public water agency is seeking to change its claims to ownership of the property, lot number 10184-7, before Judge Elise Iriarte issues a significant and long-awaited decision. The parties in the case, which also includes the government of Guam, argued in December CTI's motion for summary judgment to dismiss both GovGuam and GWA's case. The court took the arguments under advisement and may issue a decision any day now.
The Leon Guerrero Tenorio campaign has scored a political victory over the largest employer within the government of Guam. The campaign's chairman, Francis Santos, yesterday was appointed acting superintendent of education, while the Guam Education Board conducts a search for the person who will replace John Fernandez. Today is Mr. Fernandez's last day on the job, while Mr. Santos starts his work Saturday.
In a story by Nick Delgado in the Guam Daily Post, early voting in the upcoming primary election begins in 2 weeks. The Guam Election Commission discussed the details of the early voting process during a board meeting held Thursday at the GEC headquarters in Tubuning. The Western Resort Guam in Tuman has been selected to be the 2022 early voting center. Early voting will be held from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. from July 28 to August 19, Tuesday through Friday of each week.
In a story by Brian Manabat for the Guam Daily Post, Coblerville residents said they want authorities to take appropriate action regarding acts of vandalism that have left vehicles and other property damaged in their neighborhood, which is known as the Turnkey area. The residents of Saipan in the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands said a group of juveniles hang out in an abandoned house before coming out and making trouble. The residents said they have reported the incidents to the Department of Public Safety. They said authorities should prevent access to the abandoned houses and increase police presence in the area.
In a story by Nick Delgado in the Post, 11 of the island's youth spent their summer break interning with the Guam Police Department and have developed an initiative to help survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. Anisi Azuda, or Helping Survivors Persevere, starts today through the GPD's Project U program. The student intern spoke with the police department's domestic assault response team about the difficulty they face when helping victims get to a safe place. Student interns, including Alan Tovis, are asking the community to help out by donating certain items to the cause. Helping people out that have gone through sexual assault and domestic violence means a lot because we all come from different backgrounds, said Tovis. Quote, getting taken away from your family and being relocated to another place, you are going to need materials and hygiene products, which we are doing our outreach for, end quote. The interns will be hosting outreach events, starting with an event from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. today, July 15, at the Agana Shopping Center. along with an outreach event during the same time Sunday, July 17th at Guam Premier Outlets in Tumaning. Donations are also being accepted through July 29th at Village Mayor's offices, Simply Food in Agani Heights, and at the Payless supermarkets in Mighty, Oka, and Dedido.
Finally, in a story by Nick Delgado in The Post, a former University of Guam professor convicted of his part in a bid rigging scheme was denied his request to vacate, set aside, and correct his sentence for a charge he admitted to in the District Court of Guam. Thomas Marler, 63, who pleaded guilty to conspiracy to restrain trade, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit money laundering, wanted the third charge to be dismissed, claiming his attorneys were at fault and did not provide effective counsel. District Court Chief Judge Frances Tidinko Gatewood issued her decision Wednesday. These are your top stories from both Kandit and the Guam Daily Post so far today. On our agenda for Kandit today are two stories. The first, documents in the CNMI that have surfaced showing more sweetheart contracts for Torres administration officials. And our top story today by Danielle Baza. Speaker Therese Terlaje is trying to institute transparency and accountability through a couple of measures she has introduced, but she is coming up against some resistance from the Guam Board of Medical Examiners and its chairman, Dr. Nathaniel Berg.
Get these in-depth stories at candidnews.com and subscribe to daily news from the Guam Daily Post at postguam.com.
We remind you that there is an ongoing special art exhibit called Dream in Color, commemorating the work of Adriano Baza Pangilinan at the Isla Center for the Arts. It is open daily from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Closed on Sundays. That again is at the Isla Center for the Arts at the Dean Circle at the University of Guam. Next week, Wednesday at 6 p.m. on July 20, Kandit, The Post, and The Point will be co-hosting Platform 2022, a debate of the Lieutenant Governor candidates in the Democratic Party of Guam. We expect Lieutenant Governor Joshua Tenorio and his opponent Sabrina Salas Matsinani to be in studios for the live event. We also will be covering 2 days later, beginning at 6 p.m. At the Hilton Guam Resort and Spa, the Guam Medical Association gubernatorial debate. We're also proud to announce a new partnership that we have forged with Sally Aquino on a weekly Filipino show that will be held here at Kandit beginning in August. Stay tuned for the development of this show. Now we ask that you join us in turning our attention to 93.3 FM The Point, The Ray Gibson Show, which you can also catch live on Facebook at The Point Guam. For Kandit News, Torres.
And I'm Danielle Baza.
Have a wonderful and blessed Friday.
As a defense attorney, I've represented many people who, if they weren't poor or they had received a higher education, may have taken a different path. As senator, I will propose a scholarship for those whose struggles are less academic and more financial. Let's keep our university full, not our prison. I'm Thomas Fisher. I not only approved this message, I wrote it.
Paid for by Tom for Guam, Drake Diaz, Treasurer.
The Jones Act is a 1920 law justified on national security grounds as a means to bolster the U.S. maritime industry. It restricts domestic shipping to vessels that are U.S. built, U.S. owned, U.S. flagged, and U.S. crewed. However, this law boosts cost by banning foreigners from competing and forcing Americans to purchase ships that are up to 8 times more expensive than those built in other countries. The result is higher transportation costs. Shipping oil from Texas to the Northeast, for example, costs 3 times more than importing oil from Africa. Ultimately, consumers foot the bill. In addition, higher shipping costs push freight from ships onto other sources of transportation, such as trucks, which means more traffic and pollution. Meanwhile, this blatant protectionism has failed to benefit builders of ships in the U.S., whose production is less than 1% of those in China and South Korea. Domestic builders have seen over 300 shipyards close since the early 1980s. Jones Act defenders claim the law ensures adequate U.S. ships during times of war, but during U.S. deployments during Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm, foreign-flagged commercial ships carried twice as much equipment as their U.S. counterparts. In fact, the U.S. was so desperate for shipping that it twice requested the use of a cargo ship from Moscow. Both requests were denied. So the Jones Act has failed to achieve its shipbuilding and national security goals while driving up costs for consumers. It's time for this outdated, costly, and ineffective law to be repealed. It's time to end the Jones Act.
Kandit, The Point, and the Guam Daily Post are proud to present another Platform 2022 debate. Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio and Lieutenant Governor candidate Sabrina Salas Matanana. Phil Leon Guerrero and Montesilva Tyron will present topics and issues of concern to every Guamanian. July 20th at 6 p.m. everywhere. Broadcast, simulcast, and webcast on Facebook, Kandit News, and on the air at 93.3 FM and on KGTF. Platform 2022 from Kandit, the Guam Daily Post, and 93.3 The Point.